Welcome back to Universal Recaps. Today, I will show you an action thriller film from 2020 titled Unhinged. On a rainy night, the troubled man is seen sitting in his mini truck. He throws his wedding ring off and then gets out of the car with a gas can and a hammer in his hand, breaking the house doors. He violently stabs them in the head and takes them down. He pours gas all over the house and set it on fire. In the next scene, Rachel is sleeping in her house and gets a panic call from Andy, her lawyer and best friend. He tells her that her ex-husband wants her house and that they should file an objection case in court. She cuts the calls when her son comes in. The son Kyle is in the dining room with his uncle Fred, who's talking to his elderly mother. Besides them, news of the violent attack is telecasted mentioning the man was the woman's ex-husband with a history of abuse and violence. Fred and Kyle talk as Rachel searches for her scissors. Fred's girlfriend joins them at the table and they talk about their financial problems, particularly about their mother's nursing home cost. She leaves with Kyle in the car telling him we are late. Soon they end up stuck in traffic and decided to take the freeway after an argument with her son Kyle. While driving, Kyle gets a call from her ex-dad. After talking, he's disappointed as he cancels their plans to go to the movie. To make matters worse, they still end up in a traffic jam on the freeway. Rachel gets another call, this time from a client asking her to cancel the agreement as she is again going to be late for the meeting. Then she gets fired. Kyle suggests her mom to take the next exit from the freeway and go through the service streets. Coming out of the freeway, they stop at a red light behind a gray mini truck. When the mini truck doesn't move as the light changes green, she starts honking and overtakes him. At the next light, he pulls up next to their car. It's the man that set the house on fire. He asked them to roll their windows down and Kyle does it. Rachel and the man have a verbal fight. Soon he patronizes her and then apologizes, expecting her to do the same, but she rolls the windows up. Dissatisfied, he gets rattled and angrily threatens her to make her day worse. Kyle is scared and asks her mom to leave the road. The man starts following them and cuts them off twice. Rachel takes another road and manages to drop Kyle to school. Then she calls Andy and asks him to meet her for lunch in 30 minutes, promising not to be late even though she's low on fuel. Rachel stops at a gas station and goes inside to get a few other things. When she goes to the reception, she sees the gray mini truck parked behind her car. Worried, she tells the cashier that the man in the mini truck has been following her after an argument. Then she fills the tank and gets in the car, starts the engine and drives off. The cashier appears and tells the mini truck's man not to follow. Suddenly the man rams him over into the roads and he gets hit by a second car while the mini truck continues to chase after Rachel. She tries to drive fast on the way, but they get stuck in a traffic jam again with him right behind her. He bumps in her car over and over. They start driving again and Rachel can't find her cell phone to call for help. The man shows up next to her and tells her that he has her phone. She drives off fast, causing an accident on the highway and almost running over a woman. Thinking she finally lost him, she pulls up into a parking lot to hide and calm her nerves. Meanwhile, Andy is waiting for Rachel in a cafe, calling her but getting only voicemail in return. The man walks in and heads straight for Andy. He lies to him and says he's an old friend of Rachel's, then sits down and chats him up. They talk about scary experiences with road rage and Rachel's divorce. Andy gets uncomfortable, so the man asks to call Rachel and gives him his own phone. Back at the parking, Rachel is looking for her tablet when she suddenly hears ringing. She finds a phone and picks it up even though it's not her phone. The man gives Andy his cell phone and he tells her that he's waiting for her in the cafe with an old friend of hers. When she says she doesn't know anyone by the name given, he turns the phone over to Andy, who immediately calls him a psycho and tells him what happened. He tells her that she needs to truly apologize to him in person, which alerts Andy that something is fishy and he asks for his phone back. That's the moment when the man hits Andy with a cup, breaking his nose, and slams his head on the table, knocking him out. He asks Rachel if Andy is just her lawyer or if she's cheating on her husband with him, just like his own wife did. He tells Rachel to say goodbye to Andy as he chokes him and eventually stabs him, while the people in the diner still do nothing except film the situation. As the man is walking out of the diner, he tells Rachel that Andy is dead. She tries to plead with him and apologizes, but the man doesn't believe her and speeds away. The man calls her again and tells her about her new messages from the court. He starts playing with her and asking her to choose who he should kill next from her contact list. When she refuses, he sends all her bank money to her husband and threatens to go after her mom and burn her house down. Rachel chooses herself, but he doesn't accept her and asks for another name. She chooses the name of the client that fired her in the morning. He hangs up and Rachel immediately calls the police. They arrive at the house of her client, but the man isn't there. In the house, Fred is is watching the cafe news about a strange man killing. Then he hears a noise coming from the other room of his girlfriend. He goes to check on her, and on the way he sees the mini truck parked outside the house. The man appears holding his beaten-up girlfriend and telling him about what happened with Rachel. He says he feels violence and revenge, so he kills Fred's girlfriend and then sends Rachel a photo of him with her unconscious brother. The man calls her again and was angry to know that she called the police. He checks the tracker on Rachel's phone and asks her to pick Kyle up from school in 10 minutes and dive away or he'll kill Fred. He tells Fred to write her a note blaming her for his girlfriend's death, all the while pouring fuel on him. Meanwhile, Rachel gets her son out of school. As they're driving away, she calls the man back telling him she has Kyle. The man tells her to put him on speaker or he'll light her brother on fire. He makes Fred read the letter he wrote saying Rachel is responsible for everything that has happened. Suddenly a police officer walks into the house and the man runs away. Rachel can hear everything happening on the phone. She stops the car and breaks down as Kyle tries to comfort her. The phone rings again. It's the man telling her Fred is dead. He threatens Kyle, but she blocks him and smashes the phone. Her and Kyle get in a car and head to the police station. On the way they find a tablet inside the car through which the man was tracking them. Kyle wants to throw it out the window, but Rachel has the idea to track the man with a tablet as he tracked them before. Kyle realizes that he's right in front of them in another stolen car. Soon they try to alert cops on the highway, but the man figures out what they're doing and rams the police car, causing a massive car crash. He keeps following them and catching up. Kyle calls the police only to find out that the battery is dead. Rachel decides to go to her mother's house, where the neighborhood is complicated enough to slow the man down a little. She speeds up and manages to trick him and let Kyle hide inside her mother's home. When he gets there, he activates the panic button on the door alarm, then gets a phone and flashlight and hides upstairs in a secret chamber. Meanwhile, the man is searching around in the streets looking for them. He sees the car and stops to take his hammer and gas can. Suddenly Rachel rams into him with another car and flips his car down. She walks up to his car, but he grabs her to the ground. He tells her that she'll always remember him. With Rachel down, he goes after Kyle in the house, calling for him, lying it's the cops. He yells. In the meantime, Rachel appears in the hiding spot, as does the man afterward. They fight constantly with the man, and Rachel attacks him to keep him away from Kyle. As he strangles her son, Rachel grabs her scissors and stabs him, eventually killing him. Soon, the police arrive at the house. Rachel and Kyle are approached by the police officer that found Fred, and he tells her that he's still alive. As they drive to the hospital to see him, they make sure not to anger anyone else, and soon she realizes it was a shocking day of her life. Subscribe to Universal Recaps and turn on notifications for regular updates. Give a thumbs up if you like our content.